Let's kick the tires and light the fires on another week. It's a gray day, but we are the sunshine in it here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. 2 hours of broadcast excellence, or at the very least, and far more likely, broadcast competence on the way. If you'd like to be a part of it, the AdventNews.com talk and text line always open. 414-799-1130. 1-800-838-9476 is our toll-free talk and text line. You can email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Twitter, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, where you can watch the show streaming live on X, on Facebook, or our YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Woke kindergarten in San Francisco. That coming up later on in the show in the 10 o'clock hour. The LGBTQ community of the Fox Valley is very upset that a woman is going to speak at a women's group. I know. I'm shocked. Why are Democrats suddenly focused on illegal immigration? Why are they finally, after 3 years of Biden's open borders, recognizing that this is a problem? Some answers revealed on Meet the Press in the form of a poll. All that and more coming up on the Dan O'Donnell Show. But first, the cold hard cash contest word this hour. Check. 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 You've got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword check to enter the contest for this hour. If your entry is picked at random, you get a check for $1,000 in cash instantly. House Speaker Mike Johnson, to his immense credit, said the Senate's compromise bill with Democrats and the White House on border security, which is actually about Ukraine funding to the tune of an additional $60 billion, is, quote, dead on arrival. On Meet the Press yesterday, House Speaker Mike Johnson said just that. Senator James Lankford, Republican of Oklahoma, shot back, well, how could he say this? He hasn't read the bill. Well, we've known the basic details of it for some time. And Lankford is very upset. He's a Republican, mind you. He's very upset that Republicans would object to essentially letting Biden continue to run an open border voter registration drive.
It's interesting that he said he's already opposed to it. He needs 3 weeks to be able to read it, but he's already opposed to it. Again, people have got to be able to read it, go through it themselves. Don't just go off a Facebook post somewhere what the bill says. This dramatically changes asylum. It dramatically changes deportations. We no longer have a 10-year backlog. It builds more wall. Those are the key things that it actually does. But read it for yourselves. Don't just believe what's online.
Okay. I did just that. Yes, I am that crazy that I spent part of my Sunday reading an immigration bill, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it spends $118 billion. That's great, right? This is a border security bill. You Republicans, you're idiots to not support this. $118 billion for security. $60 billion of that for security for Ukraine, $14.1 billion in security assistance for Israel, and $20.2 billion for border security for the United States. So according to Senate Republicans like Lankford and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and anyone else who supports this absolute farce of a deal, security for the borders of Ukraine is 3 times more important than security for the borders of the United States of America. Am I missing something? Would Senator Lankford like me to read the bill again? Did I misread those numbers? $20.2 billion for border security for the United States, $60 billion for security for Ukraine. Now, in addition to that, there was some slight differential in what was reported last week and what the bill actually says in when exactly we get back to the status of a border emergency. The emergency authority that gets granted to the Secretary of Homeland Security, who, remember, is Alejandro Mayorkas, who has said repeatedly that the borders are secure when they're Clearly not, as people are pouring in by the tens of thousands. Someone who clearly has facilitated by taking part in Biden's executive actions on the very first day he was in office to undo President Trump's emergency declaration at the southern border. This would give him the authority to summarily remove illegal aliens, but only if the number of border encounters or entries reaches 4,000 for 7 consecutive days. Now, this was what was reported last week, was if border arrivals hit 5,000 for 7 consecutive days, or more than 8,500 in any one day. Now, those of you who are paying attention and can do basic math will understand that if 4,000 people, if 3,999 people per day get into this country, there's no emergency declaration. No one can be summarily removed, and essentially the border operates just as it always has. Here's something that is widely overlooked, but it is a massive provision in this bill. Border emergency authority cannot be used against an unaccompanied alien child, an illegal immigrant who's under the age of 18. What if we had a problem with for the past 10 years plus because of President Obama's DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals? We have had a massive influx of unaccompanied children. This is a big problem for a number of reasons. Once they get to this country, this bill says, okay, you can stay. They essentially become wards of the state if they don't have family members here who can take care of them. And this leads to the kids in cages, which was a huge, huge scandal under President Trump when there were infinitely more kids in cages. Under President Biden, it just sort of got ignored. No AOC dressed all in white crying outside of a fence at the southern border as soon as we hit January 20th, 2021 for some reason. This will encourage far more unaccompanied children. This is also a big problem from a humanitarian standpoint because these children are being placed in the custody while they're getting to the United States of the most dangerous people on earth. Coyote operations are now 100% run by the drug cartels, with some exceptions, of course, but the drug cartels recognize there is massive financial incentive to running people across the border in addition to drugs. In addition to these provisions, you get 3,999 illegals before the border is, quote unquote, shut down, before anyone is summarily removed. You also get a free pass if you're 17 years old. ICE can also exempt aliens from this border authority based on operational considerations, public health, humanitarian considerations, those sorts of things. So, in other words, the president can direct ICE to just ignore every single provision in the emergency authority. The president also has unilateral power to do so, and it wouldn't matter whether or not the Senate bill said he could. The president always retains this authority. The biggest problem that we have is that we have an unprecedented number of border asylum seekers, people who are showing up and not trying to cross and disappear, but recognizing that they can be on a path to something approaching citizenship, not full citizenship. But if they get refugee or asylum status, they'll be allowed to stay and they won't have to worry about potentially being deported. They don't really have to worry about potentially being deported right now, but they really won't have to if they simply claim asylum status. And that's what hundreds of thousands of them are doing every single month. They're just showing up at the border and they're saying, okay, I'm fleeing from violence and drug cartels and poverty in my country. None of these are valid asylum claims. I have outlined this countless times on this show. There is a legal status of an asylee or refugee that none of the people who are simply showing up at the southern border meet. Possibly, okay, let's say Cuban refugees who have a specific claim that if they go back, the regime there will harm them. So forever we had a special status for Cubans because we recognize the oppressive nature of the Castro regime. So if someone has a specific reason to fear reprisal from their government if they come back, we allow them to be refugees. This has been made into a joke under the Biden administration. This really started in earnest under the Obama administration. Essentially, people who want open borders, who want unprecedented and unfettered illegal immigration into this country, realized there was something of a loophole in American law, that if we just sort of ignore what an asylum seeker actually needs to do, what qualifications they actually need to have, we can get all of these people in. Individuals seeking asylum under this bill, and this is critical, will be, quote, released from physical custody. What does that allow them to do? Disappear into the United States. Now, what changes is that asylum decisions are to be completed expeditiously, meaning within 90 days instead of the several years. How exactly does this happen with such a massive backlog of court cases already pending? Here's the kicker, and here's the key part of this. The expeditious completion of asylum claims within 90 days happens to the maximum extent practicable. What this means is, well, the backlog is too great, so it might have to be extended out to 180 days or maybe 365 days, but it doesn't really matter because the asylum seeker isn't in custody. They're just released into the interior of the United States to live here illegally. In no way is this a fix, or does it even pretend to be a fix? And frankly, any Republican signing on to this is an embarrassment, and I would support, without even knowing who the primary candidate would be, a primary opponent to them. Here should be a huge tell that this isn't a bill Republicans can support. Chuck Schumer, who in his golden years is looking far more like a lizard than ever before. I am dead serious. He looks like a Spider-Man villain. He's on one of the Sunday shows. I think it was Meet the Press. Don't quote me on this. And of course, he's always got his glasses way down on his nose. And for some reason, he always keeps his head down and sort of tilts his eyes up. You almost expect an actual forked tongue to start flicking out of this guy's mouth. I'm telling you, Spider-Man villain called, is there a Spider-Man villain called the Lizard? If there isn't, Chuck Schumer should play him in the next film. Schumer is openly challenging Johnson to support this bill. Now, if Schumer wants it, shouldn't that be a big tell to every other Republican in the Senate that this probably isn't something you should support? Here's the Senate Majority Leader.
I say to Speaker Johnson, don't let the 30 hard right people in the House who are extreme, they wanted us to default, they wanted the government not to pay its debts, they wanted us, the government to shut down. They're extremists, and they're running your show. Do the right thing. You know what the right thing to do is. You know we need to fix our border. You know that it has to be bipartisan. The bill that you passed didn't get a single Democratic vote in the House or the Senate. How are you going to get anything done? Or do you just want to make a speech? As you admittedly say, you say the border's in chaos. Do something about it. Don't just politically posture.
Well, they did do something about it, but because it didn't include Ukraine funding, because it was just a clean border bill without anything completely unrelated, Democrats indeed did not support it because their aim is open borders. Your phone calls, your texts, your live stream DanoCam comments, all coming up next when we return.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. I want to share a landscaping secret with you. Winter is when our ornamental trees and shrubs need us most. We all know that plants need pruning, but why in the winter? Well, first, we can see their structure best when the leaves have fallen. And second, pruning is not so stressful when your plants are dormant. Pruning is affordable and makes a huge impact on the vitality and beauty of your trees and shrubs. So prune this winter and have gorgeous flowers next spring and summer. Pruning also helps keep your plants properly sized. No more dancing around them on the sidewalk or wrestling through them to wash your windows. Call today and schedule a complimentary evaluation of your ornamental plants. Our plant care experts will make sure your trees, shrubs, and perennials perform and look their best. Discover the wonders of nature. Call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Our pricing philosophy is real simple.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
It's the everyday lowest possible price that we can sell it at in order to pay our bills, deliver it into the home, keep our lights on, and be here tomorrow to serve you again.
Here is the price. It's a fair price. It's an honest price. And I think the basis behind that whole philosophy can be summed up in one word: fairness.
We believe from the pricing philosophy standpoint is this is how I would want to be treated. And how I want to be treated is I want to know that tomorrow if somebody comes into my store, they're not getting a different price than I got today. That isn't fair to the one that bought today. With our pricing philosophy, you can buy with confidence today, tomorrow, next month, that nobody is getting a better price because of a moon sale or a birthday sale or whatever. We have our lowest price up front every single day.
PennyMustard.com.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
To answer the most common question that we've been getting on today's Dan O'Donnell Show, if you're listening to us on the radio on our flagship station, WISN in Milwaukee, we are in fact still operating at low power. This means at night, AM radio stations, especially 50,000-watt blowtorches, need to power down so there's not excessive signal interference. I don't know why we haven't powered back up yet. I'm assuming it's an issue with the transmitter, but I can assure you, just as the government assured Indiana Jones, we have top men working on it. Who? Top men. Bob in Oak Creek up first on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome to it, Bob. How you doing?
I'm overpaid on the work. I'm a little bit confused by this. The Republicans sent a border bill to the Senate. Isn't the Senate's response supposed to be pass their own version and send it back to the House so they can go to a conference committee?
This is correct, Bob, but they also have the authority to reject it. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, I have some vague memory of the House passing its own bill. This did, in fact, happen in May of last year. Now, why do you think the Senate might reject it? A, it was called the Secure the Border Act, which clearly is something Democrats aren't interested in. And the very first section of the bill, I'm reading from the Congress.gov website. This section requires the Department of Homeland Security to resume all activities related to constructing a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. That probably alone, that one sentence, and this was just from the executive summary of the bill, meant that no Democrat was ever going to vote for it. And in fact, this would have also dramatically limited asylum eligibility and restored the Remain in Mexico program, in which illegal immigrants were required to quite literally remain in Mexico. Now, Senator Chris Murphy, who was the chief negotiator for Democrats on this bill, claims that the president can't act unilaterally, as President Trump did in enacting Remain in Mexico. And this is why we need this bill, because President Biden is powerless, just powerless to act on his own to secure the border. And in fact, he said so on Meet the Press this morning. Or excuse me, yesterday morning.
The president can't do this by himself. The president doesn't have the legal authority without additional legislation to control the border and fix the broken asylum system in the way that needs to be done.
Really? If that was true, how is it that within his first 100 days in office, President Biden signed dozens upon dozens upon dozens of executive orders doing just that? It is remarkable how these people are just able to lie so seamlessly, so effortlessly. Oh, yeah, because no one ever calls them on it when they're in the process of doing so. You're not going to hear Kristen Welker or anyone else, the host of Meet the Press, anyone else interject and say, hey, wait a second, if that's true, how is it that Biden was able to end Remain in Mexico on his first day in office? He signed an executive order to do just that. Truthfully, the only thing that stopped the abuse of the asylum system was just that. When people realized that just saying, hey, I'm seeking asylum, doesn't get them a free pass into the interior of the United States, it destroyed the incentive to pay $10,000 plus a person for people who oftentimes can't really afford this. They become indentured servants to the drug cartels to pay their passage through Central America and up through Mexico. They got it down to a science. And of course, were aided by all sorts of liberal-leaning nonprofits and the like, and non-governmental organizations, which were telling them, okay, here's what you have to say. Here's what you need to do to get this asylum status. Now, we understand that it's bogus. But you do have, and a number of texters have pointed this out, Dan, my mentions on Facebook are getting flooded by liberal friends who are saying, doesn't everyone have a right to a better life? Yes. Not everyone, though, qualifies for asylum. Not everyone qualifies for refugee status. We also do have laws in this country. This is the problem, however. There is an entire movement of people who don't believe that we should have a border, who believe that we shouldn't exist as a colonist, oppressor state. We're just like Israel. Don't believe me? Unhinged Liberal of the Day, coming up later on, believes just that and is trying to indoctrinate literal kindergartners into believing it as well. It's called woke kindergarten. And we're actually, Dave, remind me, producer Dave, back from a week-long vacation today, remind me, the next segment's going to be a little shorter because we want to have a longer Unhinged Liberal of the Day to tell you about woke kindergarten and its founder. The president clearly does have executive authority. He can declare an emergency at the southern border. I mean, this is the definition of a president's emergency authority. When we have a border that is hemorrhaging, 300,000 people are coming across every single month, the president can clearly use his emergency authority to shut it down. And implicit in this bill is, in fact, the admission that if we could shut the border down after crossings reach 4,000 per day for 7 days, or 8,500 in any single day, we could shut it down now. The negotiation happens because Democrats want as many people as humanly possible into this country. Now, you might ask yourself, why? Well, there are useful idiots and true believers who believe that borders are horrible and an oppressor nation needs to be opened up so that the oppressed people, the colonized of the past, the descendants of them at least, can share in the abundance of what was robbed from their ancestors. And there are people who truly believe this. But the more practical reason to allow all of these people in, and remember, everything is geared towards what? 3 words. Pathway to citizenship. Why? Well, an added benefit is that these people have a tendency to vote Democrat. What we know is that legal immigrants are far more likely to vote for Democrat. One thing is sort of standing in the way. Do you realize that in the latest NBC poll out yesterday, they're all freaking out about this? Donald Trump leads Joe Biden amongst Hispanics. And I have said for years, if that ever happens, if you get to a critical mass where the Hispanic community starts voting Republican, you will have Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer down with trowels at the southern border, personally building that wall. We'll be right back. Hey, Dan here for DraftKings, the leader in fantasy sports, which just dropped a brand new fantasy app. Pick 6 is the newest way to get in on the fantasy football action with DraftKings. All you need to do to get started is to download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and sign up using code WISN. That's key. Sign up using code WISN. Track your daily lineup, compete against others for huge cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and sign up with code WISN. That's code WISN, only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Approved local P6 states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Valid only in states where DraftKings Pick 6 operates. For up-to-date list of states, please visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
Experience Brewers baseball like a VIP with a 2024 ticket plan. On sale now. Enjoy the season to its fullest with exclusive rewards, big savings on Brewers tickets, and seats to every can't-miss moment. Get on board at brewers.com/ticket plans.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Wisconsin, you deserve better. You deserve stress-free quality roofing. Let Klaus Roofing Systems by Buck Buckley, BBB award-winning service, take care of you and your family. For a free roofing consultation, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
I'm Flawless Flooring's Dave Brownsdorf. Flawless Flooring has upgraded the ultimate home upgrade experience with single point of contact customer experience and our second 5,000 square foot Lake Country Flooring Gallery at Highway 83 and 994. Flawless Flooring's luxury vinyl plank can be installed throughout your whole home over old, worn, tired hardwood flooring, even over dated ceramic bath tile or any old kitchen floor surface. With zero demolition or after Flawless's employee-only artisans dispose of dog and cat stink stained carpet. Visit either Flawless Flooring Idea Gallery, meet your single point of contact, choose from literally countless flooring options on display, and we'll eliminate stains and stink by throwing the carpeting in a dumpster right before Flawless Flooring's employee-only installers beautify your everyday going forward. Flawless's 15-month, 0% financing means you can lock in the value of today's dollar for dollars you'll earn next year, then love home more every day in between. Sensory Underload Flawless Flooring, New Berlin, Delafield, FlawlessFlooringLLC.com.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kiandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Looking for top-notch personal protection? The Smith & Wesson Equalizer is here to level the playing field. Easy to rack slide, easy to control ergonomic grip. It's designed for you. With a 10, 13, and 15-round magazine included, size up for better control or size down for easier concealment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to upgrade your safety. Visit your local dealer now. To learn more about the Equalizer, visit smith-wesson.com. Smith & Wesson, empowering Americans. All capacity sizes may not be available in your jurisdiction. Be sure to check your local laws and regulations.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
Get ready for the big game with the free iHeartRadio app. Pre-game with perfectly tailored playlists like Big Game Party and more. Jump around! iHeartRadio has the perfect soundtrack for your pre-game party, whether it's just you or a block party for the entire neighborhood. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Big Game, and listen now. Make the big game great with iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
This is one of my favorite weeks of the entire year. Do you know why? Yes, it's Super Bowl week, but it's because you will hear all sorts of references to the Super Bowl. There are very strict rules on when you can say Super Bowl and when you can't say Super Bowl. I was just listening to our commercial feed a second ago, and the big game, the superb finish to the regular season. I mean, it is hilarious to hear. It's usually the big game, or March Madness is another one. You can't use March Madness unless you're an official sponsor, an official partner with the NCAA tournament. So you'll hear the spring insanity. But Super Bowl is what we can say it if it's part of programming. If we're talking about the Super Bowl, clearly we can say Super Bowl. But if we were doing a promotion, say a watch party, where I would have a bunch of listeners get together and we'd all have a Super Bowl viewing, we wouldn't be allowed to say it because we wouldn't be allowed to promote any sort of commercial endeavor with the Super Bowl unless we had express written consent from the National Football League. So we would have to say it's Dan's Big Game Extravaganza. And we've pretty much settled as a country on big game as the euphemism for the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's Super Bowl week and Media Day. Is that today or tomorrow? I can never remember when it is. So expect to hear a whole lot about Taylor Swift. Last night, the Grammys. Taylor won her record 4th album of the year. She didn't win Song of the Year or Record of the Year, which was something of an upset. She was expected to just sort of sweep these things. Miley Cyrus won Record of the Year for Flowers, which is a really, really good song. Taylor was up for Anti-Hero. She won Best Album for Midnights. That wasn't the big Taylor Swift news. She announced that she's coming out with a new album called The Dead Poets Society, the Lost Poets Generation, something with poets. I don't remember what it's called. But this basically ensures that Taylor Swift, say what you will, the woman is an absolute marketing genius. You had Tracy Chapman perform for the first time in years at the Grammys last night. You had Celine Dion seen in public for the first time presenting the Album of the Year award to Taylor Swift. She has a rare condition. It's known as stiff person syndrome. It's basically destroyed her ability to move, and she clearly can't perform. She's retired from performing. It's unfortunately incurable, but she got a huge ovation. It's just a wonderful moment where she shows up. Joni Mitchell performing. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. You had Billy Joel. What's everybody talking about today? Not any of that. Taylor Swift announcing that she's putting out a new album. You have to be in awe of this woman's ability to market herself, or rather the record label and massive team of consultants' ability to market her. Did you notice who she didn't thank? No mention of Travis Kelce. And of course, everyone's reading into this. I'm telling you, marketing genius. Marketing genius. All anybody's talking about over the weekend. The Japanese embassy confirms that she will be able to make the Super Bowl on time. She's playing concerts in Japan. Some smartass remarked on X, formerly known as Twitter, "This is Japan's worst ever attack on the United States." What are you rolling your eyes at? What is it, too soon? It's too soon to make a Pearl Harbor joke. Letting Taylor Swift back in the country for the Super Bowl. So how many dudes are going to have the Super Bowl ruined? Because you know they're going to show Taylor Swift. You know what else they're taking bets on? Whether she's going to make a surprise appearance performing at the halftime show. Absolutely not. No way. No, because, well, no. And even beyond that, Dave, these shows take months. Every millisecond is perfectly choreographed. You think even someone like Taylor Swift just sort of parachuting in, I'd like to perform a song or two. It doesn't really work like that. So no, I'm taking a wild guess. Taylor's not going to be there. One thing I took away from the Grammys, and this was actually a big takeaway, is that, and I didn't watch it live. I had other stuff to do. Shocker, I was coaching a kid's soccer game yesterday evening and running errands and doing stuff. But I did watch a significant portion of the Grammys on my iPad, just, some highlights, some of the best performances. It's easily my favorite award show, folks, because of all the performances. It's much more about the music than it is about self-aggrandizement. Of course, it's an award show, so the whole purpose is self-aggrandizement of celebrities. But I'm a huge fan of Billy Joel, so watching him perform was fantastic. The highlight to me, though, was absolutely Luke Combs and Tracy Chapman performing Fast Car, which to me is one of the most beautiful, haunting, just gorgeous songs that's ever been written. And yes, I do prefer Tracy Chapman's version, of course. Luke Combs' version is fantastic, though. They're really good. I'm not a huge country guy, but I love that song. And there was controversy over the summer because Luke Combs was appropriating a black woman's song to make himself a fortune. She does get songwriter royalties on that. Arguably, she gets more money than Luke Combs does as the performer, because she wrote this song. You really think Tracy Chapman is upset that Luke Combs took her song to make himself millions and in so doing make her millions? You're nuts. And this sort of put that controversy to rest. I loved all the woke idiots whose concept of history starts at about 2007. Not understand. They're like, oh, well, Luke Combs, a white man can turn Fast Car into a hit, and a black woman gets no recognition. I may have been only like 7 years old when this happened, but I do recall Tracy Chapman winning a whole ton of Grammys for Fast Car, which is widely considered one of the best songs ever written. She stepped away. She's, I guess, something of a recluse. She hasn't performed in something like 15 years, so it was a huge deal that she was there. And out of all of the award shows, for all of those reasons, I find the Grammys to be the most enjoyable every single year. All right, Woke Kindergarten. You're not going to want to miss this next segment. I promise you it's hilarious and sad all at the same time. Dan O'Donnell here for my amazing friends at Built-Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. Built-Right's President's Day sale is on now, but the secret is they're celebrating Randy Kay's birthday as well with great savings on affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses. Shop where the O'Donnell family shops now more than ever. It's the time to support Built-Right, a locally and family-owned business for 4 generations and 96 years strong. Built-Right's 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Special and custom orders are faster in 2024. You'll get the lowest prices on popular brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Temple, Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, and many more. Built-Right always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Make sure to wish Randy Kay, 4th generation, a very happy birthday and tell them Dan sent you to Built-Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Do you know that we have over 8 different ways to install a replacement window? Most companies only have one. Not all homes are built the same, look the same, or even have the same old windows to remove. So how can you only have one way to install them? The answer is simple. It's quick and easy. Well, that's not us, and it will never be us. You can have peace of mind that the install we recommend is the one that will last a lifetime. If you want your windows installed only once and done right the first time, then call Abby today. And if somebody asks you if you know a guy in the business, you can say no, but I know a girl.
Want to make your yard the envy of the neighborhood? Tune in to Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services Designer Yard Show to learn landscaping secrets. Visit seasonalservices.com and listen on News Talk 1130 WISN, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Hey guys, welcome to the Home Box Stop. Ready for those new kitchen cabinets and countertops? Okay, well, let's get you guys going. Inches, centimeters, inches, right? Been here for years. Actually, in light bulbs. I'm covering for Karen. She took the week off. 1 sec. No worries. The computer does all the work.
Customer assistance to light bulbs.
Oh, that's me, BRB.
Yeah,
let's go.
Granite Plus?
Hurry, here she comes.
Hi, I'm Laz with Granite Plus. Countertops and cabinets is what we do. As a meticulously detailed local fabricator, say goodbye to the middleman and upgrade your home with real factory direct savings. Homeowners, flippers, contractors, why would you pay more? Go to GranitePlusUSA.com, that's GranitePlusUSA.com, or visit any of our Milwaukee area showrooms and start saving today.
So when it comes to replacement windows and doors, to me, for the highest quality and best value, it's Marvin. The Marvin family of brands consists of a couple product divisions, and you'll find the area's largest selection of Marvin products here at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Every Marvin window and door is built around you, made to order one at a time. I love that because it keeps quality control high and makes all of your customization needs for your home a lot easier. Integrity windows and doors from Marvin are made with a revolutionary fiberglass material called Ultrex that outlasts and outperforms the competition on nearly every measurable scale. Marvin has always joined the highest quality craftsmanship with more sizes, shapes, and options than any other brand. And it's why for over 50 years, Marvin has been our lead brand. This is David Wilhelm. For the area's largest selection of Marvin replacement windows and doors, your clear choice for more is Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find us at LisbonStorm.com.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
Get ready for our 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, presented by The Hartford, live at South by Southwest. March 11th, we'll honor the very best in podcasting from the past year, and you'll help decide who wins Podcast of the Year. Vote now at iHeartPodcastAwards.com.
The Hartford Small Business Insurance is the presenting partner of the 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, live at South by Southwest. To learn more or start a quote, visit thehartford.com/smallbusiness. With insurance designed for your small business, the Bucks got your back.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
The revolution will not be televised.
A talk radio revolution.
The revolution is here.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
The rapper Common, who is about as lefty gets in the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music rotation. I can't help it. This song's a jam. It's called The Sixth Sense. I love it. No. Producer Dave is whispering in my ear, I see dead people. No, I think this came out a couple of years after the movie. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it is. It is. Oh, my goodness, Dave. Wow, do I feel old. The Sixth Sense came out 25 years ago this summer. Ugh. I also graduated from high school 25 years ago this summer. Yeah, 2000 was when the song came out. Yeah, it has nothing to do with ghosts or anything. It's actually a really, really good song. The lyrics are spectacular. I've always been a fan of Common, even though he probably would hate this here talk radio show.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Does that make me crazy?
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is in over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is quite possibly our most deserving in many, many, many months. Her name is Akia Gross, and she is the founder of a bit of school curriculum called Woke Kindergarten. Woke Kindergarten. It was implemented in an elementary school called Glassbrook Elementary in Hayward, California. Now, if I had to guess which of the three, if I had you guess rather, which of the three major cities in California Hayward is near? You'd only need one. San Francisco Bay Area School. They implement Woke Kindergarten, which has woke words of the day like ceasefire and abolish, and woke wonderings about things like challenging the legitimacy of the Supreme Court, abolishing the military, abolishing the police. Another woke wondering for elementary school students, mind you, asked, if the United States defunded the Israeli military, how could this money be used to rebuild Palestine? Now, Glassbrook uses a $250,000 grant from the federal government to implement Woke Kindergarten in an effort to boost test scores. The grant was to boost student performance, student test scores. Do I even need to tell you what happened next? Test scores plummeted. Down 4% after the implementation of Woke Kindergarten. 4%. 4. Not 40, not 14. 4% of Woke Kindergarten students are now proficient in math. 4. Down from 8. 12% are proficient. That means at grade level. Proficient doesn't mean, oh, hey, you're doing great. That means you are performing at the basic expectation for advancement to the next grade. Just 12% can read at grade level. Now, Akia Gross has a TikTok. And Akia Gross says on her TikTok things like this.
I believe Israel has no right to exist. I
believe the United States has no right to exist. I believe every settler colony who has committed genocide against native peoples, against indigenous people, has no right to exist.
If she wasn't clear enough about that, what does she think of people like you or I who might object to her saying things like this or indoctrinating kids with a ridiculous woke kindergarten curriculum?
Y'all are the villains. We've been trying to end y'all, get free of y'all.
Okay. Akia Gross, the grossest unhinged liberal of the day, easily this year. I think she is the front runner for the unhinged liberal of the year. It's only February, but I think we've got a front runner. Dave, you know what we need to do? We need to have the unhinged liberal of the year. We need to hand out the Libby Awards. Huh? You know who we could get to sponsor them? Steve Libby. Steve Libby of inet-web.com. How did I forget what his company is? inet-web.com. How can you possibly forget that? Yeah. The Libby Awards, not Libbey, how he spells his name. And he, of course, is sort of the living antithesis of an unhinged liberal of the day. But the Libby, Libb. I like it. We have our own award show in December. The Libbies. I love it. I love it. All right. Time now to help you know the difference. We bring in Brian Jacobson, the chief economist of Annex Wealth Management, sitting in this week for Dave Spano. What is going on, Brian? How you doing, my friend?
It's going really well. Thanks. That's probably as good as it can be this time of year. You know, it's rather pleasant weather so far.
Yeah, actually it is. I was outside doing yard work. Yard work! It was February 4th. It was gorgeous yesterday. So, all eyes are on the Fed once again. Jobs blowout. It doesn't seem like we're getting that March rate cut, does it?
No, it really doesn't. And this past weekend, Chair Powell actually went on 60 Minutes and really confirmed that a March cut is really not on the table at all. And I thought he actually did a pretty good job of taking that entire interview and not saying anything new. So that's a real great skill that he has.
Actually, he should get into talk radio. I've spent like 15-minute segments saying absolutely nothing. But then all eyes sort of turn to the summer, right? I mean, at some point, rates are going to have to come down. I mean, we're almost in a full-blown housing crisis. There's just no availability because nobody wants to get out of their 3.5% mortgages.
It really is incredible, and the parts of the economy that have been struggling the hardest are likely to continue to struggle under these high rates. And in the wake of Chair Powell's comments, we already see yields moving back higher again. And so that's going to put a little bit renewed pressure on housing, capital spending, the lowest income individuals who tend to be very dependent on variable rate debt, high cost debt like credit cards. And so even though the overall economy as a whole might be doing just fine, when you kind of peel it back into the different layers, there's still quite a bit of weakness there. We've had that rolling recession hitting housing, manufacturing. Looks like it's going to continue to roll on for a little while. Hopefully service sector activity can help prop up the broader economy.
He is Brian Jacobson, chief economist at Annex Wealth Management. He's going to be joining me, sitting in for Dave again, as we record this week's edition of The Difference. It's a podcast that sits at the intersection of politics and economics. We are in a presidential year, and by the way, we have new polling that shows President Biden in a far more precarious spot, not just because of the head-to-head. All of the headline focus on this poll is, Trump leads Biden by a bigger margin than ever before, and Trump didn't leave Biden in a single NBC poll throughout the 2020 cycle. It's some of that underlying data, especially on handling of issues, that's got Democrats panicked. That coming up in the 10 o'clock hour right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. police in Oak Creek are looking for a suspect after a car was stolen with children inside. The incident happened late yesterday morning at an Oak Creek Quick Trip. Police say shortly after the vehicle was stolen, they found it abandoned along with 2 children inside. The children were unharmed. Police are seeking information on the person who stole the vehicle and fled the scene. By a 4-3 decision Friday afternoon, the Wisconsin Supreme Court accepted a lawsuit filed by Governor Tony Evers against Republican lawmakers. Evers filed the suit in October against Republican leaders after committee chairs blocked pay raises for UW system employees and funding for conservation projects. The money for both was already contained in the state budget. Evers argued the action amounted to a legislative veto. The pay raises were held back over Republican objections to diversity, equity, and inclusion positions on UW campuses. Assembly Speaker Robin Voss and UW System President Jay Rothman eventually reached a compromise. Friday, Evers signed 2 bills releasing the 4% raises for some 30,000 employees. The U.S. and Britain struck 36 Houthi targets in Yemen over the weekend in a second wave of assaults meant to further disable Iran-backed groups that have relentlessly attacked American and international interests. The latest strikes against the Houthis were launched by U.S. warships and American and British fighter jets. That was in retaliation for the drone strike that killed 3 U.S. troops in Jordan last weekend. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard after falling to the Jazz in Utah yesterday, the Bucks next face the Suns in Phoenix tomorrow. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at the Lynch family of dealerships. With 2023 in our rear view mirror, we've turned the corner into a brand new year. Maybe it's time to start the new year with a new to you SUV, car or truck. Whatever it is, Lynch has it. Cold weather creates weak batteries, bald tires, salty interiors, and let's be honest, your car may have seen better days. Lynch has new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, Rams, Chevys, Buicks, GMCs, and Fords, and on top of that, they've got a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles that come with the Lynch protected peace of mind and Lynch certification that includes a 168-point inspection and 10-day 500-mile satisfaction guarantee exchange policy. Rev up the savings at the Lynch family of dealerships and cruise into the new year with financing as low as 0% APR or up to $6,500 in rebates on select new vehicles. Over 1,000 vehicles in stock. Find your ride today at shoplynch.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A freezing fog advisory is in effect through noon today. Plan on frost possible this morning, some slick surfaces, and reduced visibility. High temperatures will be in the upper 30s with mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies this afternoon. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate. Why make things harder than they need to be? There's a better way to save time and money. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Here's a penny for your thoughts. There's about 11,000 tire-related crashes every year.
Mostly due to driving around on underinflated, beat-up, worn-out tires with low tread.
A couple of clicks at richlands.com will get you scheduled for a free tire tread test.
But if you're pressed for time, there's an old trick we use in the tire industry that'll tell you if you need tires.
And that's free, too.
My dad showed me, who learned it from his dad, who learned it from someone else way back in 1964.
Ah, yes. The old penny test.
Yep, just place a penny head first.
As in upside down.
Into the groove of your tire. Now, if you can see the top of Lincoln's head, you're due for tires.
And hey, if the free penny test frazzles you, book an appointment at richlands.com.
If your tires are good,
no harm, no foul, because it won't cost you a penny. Be safe, buckle up, and hang. Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matschke with Richlands. You're
due for service.
Such a refreshing change. Richlands.
At one of the most famous restaurants in the world, there's a table in the corner that's the hottest reservation on the planet.
Ah, yes, you're over here.
Saved for the restaurant's owner and her hand-picked personal guests, Ruthie Rogers and her River Cafe Table 4. That's where the most incredible conversations on the planet are happening every week, captured in her very special podcast with guests like Will Ferrell.
My dinner one night, pasta, and the only thing I had was some mustard. My roommate at the time was like, you can borrow some of my tomato sauce. I'm like, oh no, I prefer the mustard.
Martha Stewart.
I did not have an affair with Michael Caine, but I did have an affair with one of his best friends.
And Jimmy Fallon.
We were the most boring people to ever stay at Richard Branson's island. He's so fun. And he says, Fallons, good morning. Would you like to go race in the submarines? You know, we're like, no thanks. We're happy in the pool.
We've saved you a seat. It's all in her very intimate podcast, Ruthie's Table 4. Listen to Ruthie's Table 4 on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, business owners, it's Joe Breyer with Lake Country Advisors, your local, experienced, and trusted M&A advisors here in Wisconsin. We offer confidential, free exit strategy consultations to discuss the sale of your business. Visit us today at lakecountryadvisors.com.
Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you to the limits of your plan. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with promo code CLAY.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer can give you a cash offer for your home in just 5 minutes, no matter its condition, because selling your home should not be complicated. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com, pick your closing date, and the rest is simple. That's MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
WISN listeners are wise, enlightened, engaged, and have impeccably good taste. Thank you for making us Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Streaming on the DanoCam are asking what it is that I'll look at, because I don't look directly at the camera. I found that to be way too distracting. I move my hands a lot and I move my head a lot. I move around in the chair. You've noticed if you're watching us on X, Twitter, Facebook, or our YouTube channel. And that when you're looking right at the camera, that can actually be very distracting for the viewer, because, you know, you're used to, when you're watching a TV show, someone sitting very still and only moving. So it was really damaging my eyes, because we've got a light that is coming right on me, and it would just get, for like 20 minutes after the show was over, I could still see the ring light. It was like burned into my retinas. So we moved the setup so that I'm not actually looking at the camera, but can focus on doing my show. I also look at notes quite a bit. I've got outlines, I've got pieces of paper, all sorts of stuff. People want to know what it is I'm looking at. I'm looking at producer Dave. Dave is sort of the stand-in for the audience, so I'm sort of gauging his reaction. And why we love producer Dave is because he laughs harder at my jokes than any human being ever should. Now, got to be honest with me. Is that a stage laugh? You doing that for effect, or am I genuinely that funny? I can't really tell. I can't really tell if you're doing a fake laugh. You know who does the fake laugh? The people over in the sports station. There is nothing that Steve Zabin has ever said that is so funny that I can hear his producer laughing through not one, but two soundproof studios. And I love Steve. Steve is he's an incredibly funny guy. He's a remarkably talented broadcaster. I can hear those guys laughing through. We've got 95.7 and I think Big 920 studios in between. Sometimes I can hear the guffawing through those two studios. It sounds like a group of howler monkeys in there. It's like the old Letterman show or Johnny Carson when he would who is the animal expert that he would bring on? No, it's not Jack Hanna, Jungle Jack Hanna. It's like, no, Dave is saying, oh, it's like Ed McMahon. No. This is like Ed McMahon if Ed McMahon had a bullhorn. It's like Jungle Jack Hanna when he would bring on the Howler Monkeys, because every single one of these dudes, and they're all friends, they're all great guys, but every single one of these dudes has like a comically high-pitched laugh. It sounds like, honest to goodness, I cannot differentiate between, if they were just making a slightly different sound, to ooh, ooh, ah, ah, it would be indistinguishable. I'm telling you, I am in the middle of a Jungle Jack Hanna segment. I'm waiting for like one of the macaws to pee on my head. All right, I'm done complaining about stuff. Also, the urinal wasn't working in the bathroom at work. Somehow someone managed to clog the urinal. So I was unable to it's running. I don't want to be too gross about it, but shall we say if there was any more liquid deposited into that urinal, there would have been a waterfall onto the bathroom floor. So I walk in, I go, whoop, nope. And then I walk back into the studio and my theme music was playing, and here we are. All right, for having to endure that conversation, I'm going to reward you. $1,000 on the line right now, cold hard cash contest. The word this hour is bills, B-I-L-L-S, bills. I'm going to use it in a sentence. If iHeartMedia paid its bills, maybe our urinals would work. I am poking the bear. I want to be able to pee at work. Is that too much? Is that too much to ask? All right, look at this. For those of you watching on the Dano Cam, I have a giant bottle full of water. I need to drink a ton of water. I am back, by the way, to doing 2 shows. If you can't get enough scintillating content like this, you can also hear me from 3 to 6 p.m. on WISN, filling in for Mark Belling. Producer Dave missed it on Friday during How Bizarre. We had a lengthy discussion of adult babies. We talked about the 20th anniversary of Janet Jackson's nipple. So basically, Dave, I want you to send the past couple of days worth of broadcasts to the Marconi people, because I think this is going to win me talk radio host of the year. All right, so you are actually listening from Aruba. No, I know, but you were listening to the podcast. You were listening to me during your layup. Producer Dave trying to get Employee of the Year, which is pretty easy since he's my only employee. And nobody else who I tell to do stuff at this station does anything. I said, fix that urinal, people. And the urinal doesn't work. I'm going to dump this entire bottle of water into the urinal. No, just to see what happens. Yeah, of course it's going to overflow. I'm good. Okay. Well, Producer Dave just said the most honest thing I think he has ever said. And I quote, he said he was listening because he wanted to, the reference points I made to kind of catch up what we were talking about, that sort of stuff. He said, and I quote, I'm not a fan. It's my job. The rest of you people have no excuse. You actually choose to listen to this garbage. All right. There is a significant and possibly deadly threat to the LGBTQ plus community in Oshkosh. So serious, in fact, the members of said community have written an open letter outlining this threat and begging for someone to do something about it. Now, this got some attention in mid-January, a couple of weeks ago. But up until now, nobody has fully outlined this threat and taken seriously the LGBTQ plus community's concerns about it. Nobody has read in depth the letter outlining just how grave this threat is. They write, "We are your neighbors, supporters, volunteers, and friends. We appreciate the positive work the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation and Discover Oshkosh does to uplift our entire community. We also sincerely hope we share an understanding of the importance of supporting and including the LGBTQ plus community in all facets of daily life. We are writing to you today to summarize a serious problem that has arisen and to request specific actions from both your organizations to help solve it. This problem is ongoing and has already caused and contributed to harming an already vulnerable segment of our local population. If allowed to continue, this problem will significantly undermine local and statewide harm reduction efforts and public advocacy initiatives. It will also erode public confidence in the integrity of both your organizations and bring shame upon Oshkosh as a city and member of the Fox Valley." Wow. I'm not going to lie, folks. I was unaware of this serious and specific threat. I will admit that I have failed in my duty as a news personality to keep you informed of dangers to the community, of any community, to any vulnerable people, especially people as vulnerable as the LGBTQ plus community. I'm honestly intrigued. Is the mayor of Oshkosh rounding up gays? What's going on? What could prompt such a serious letter? Well, the Oshkosh Area Women's Fund is having a one-armed female surfer come speak. That's the threat. Yes, Bethany Hamilton. She had her arm bitten off by a shark as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. She's been a celebrity ever since. She's a very, very talented surfer. I mean no disrespect to Bethany calling her a one-armed surfer, but if she's a threat to the LGBT community, what's she going to hit him? She only got one arm. You can probably fight her off. Come on now. Half of the LGBTQ plus community is dudes pretending to be women. I'm fairly certain you could take a one-armed girl, right? She can't be that big of a threat. They are bringing her in as keynote speaker for their event in May. This not only conflicts and contradicts their mission statement, it undermines their community partnership initiatives towards ending isolation and loneliness, promoting youth mental and physical health, and supporting parents. It also creates and enhances a direct platform for amplifying anti-transgender bigotry in our own backyard. Bethany, what did you do? Is she using the one good arm to snatch LGBTQ plus people off the street? What is going on? Nope. She said she wasn't going to compete in World Surfing Federation events because the World Surfing Federation is, yes, allowing dudes to compete with women. About 5 years ago, this wouldn't be a controversial position at all. Now it is literally causing harm to the LGBTQ plus community in Oshkosh. I don't think I need to remind you, Oshkosh does not itself have any surfing competitions. Here's what they write. Her stances and statements made in her capacity as a surfer. Her statements made in her capacity as a surfer. What were those statements? Dude, awesome. Her statements made in her capacity as a surfer are blatantly exclusionary and harmful toward transgender women athletes and, by extension, the trans and non-binary community at large. They directly promote and encourage more of the same divisive rhetoric and atmosphere that contribute to our state's dire mental health statistics for LGBTQ plus youth. That fact cannot be ignored, regardless of any personal religious beliefs she may hold, any philanthropic work she performs in other areas, or any dollar figure in ticket sales and publicity her celebrity status might attract. A decision to platform and promote a self-avowed trans exclusionist is an unacceptable choice for any organization to make, but most especially a community-funded nonprofit that claims to be supportive of all women and girls. Either the Women's Fund does not believe that transgender women and girls qualify for inclusion in their evidently limited and conditional definition of all, or they have decided it is more financially lucrative to consider them expendable. Man. The Women's Fund just does not care about the giant, and I mean giant, transgender woman surfing community of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. To put this situation in a comparable framework, now I want you to listen closely to the comparison that the group of LGBTQ plus people who are harmed by Bethany Hamilton speaking at an event that they can very easily not go to or ever hear what this young lady has to say. To put this situation in a comparable framework, imagine if a domestic violence prevention organization, such as Oshkosh's own Christine Ann Center, had booked a nationally known public figure whom they later discovered to have engaged in, enabled, or publicly excused domestic abuse. There would be no question about the ethical conflicts involved in proceeding with that speaker, nor about the damage to public trust in the organization. Selecting Bethany Hamilton as a keynote speaker is no different. In other words, these people honestly believe that beating your spouse or girlfriend is the exact same as saying, you know what, I think it's a little unfair for biological males to compete against biological females in sporting events. You know, I'm not sure, Dave. I remember there was a whole movement about this sort of thing. 50 years ago or so, there was some Title 8, 7, 10, somewhere in that numerical range that had to do with protecting women's sports so that men's sports wouldn't just sort of dominate them. Oh yeah, Title 9, you idiots. Unfortunately, they write, the Women's Fund is not alone in contributing to this problem. Discover Oshkosh, the cultural and events arm of the Oshkosh Convention and Visitors Bureau, is also promoting Bethany Hamilton's selection as Power of the Purse keynote speaker on their Facebook page, despite numerous comments, phone calls, and emails to both organizations explaining how Bethany Hamilton's statements and actions are harmful and dangerous, as well as an influx of anti-transgender comments on both organizations' social media pages. Both the Women's Fund and Discover Oshkosh have chosen to leave the promotional posts visible. It is actually harmful, not just to have Bethany Hamilton speak, but to have a Facebook post up saying Bethany Hamilton is going to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, this is contributing to the trans genocide. Bethany Hamilton has a protected legal right to express her anti-transgender views. She is not, however, protected from dissent or criticism over them. Okay, good. The LGBTQ plus community is finally understanding this little thing we have called the First Amendment. Great. Neither is she guaranteed a platform, an audience, or a paycheck despite them. Those are things that others, through their own freedom of speech, have the right to withhold or withdraw. It is not censorship for an organization to curate their social media content in accordance with their mission, statement, or values. It is, however, an ethical imperative for an organization to cancel a contract with a speaker whose actions and statements are at such great risk of causing serious and ongoing harm to an already vulnerable demographic as well as to the organization's reputation. To do otherwise would make an organization, and by extension all who participate in or support such a decision, unquestionably complicit in that harm. You see, yeah, she's got a right to speak, but she is going to result in harm to a community. No, that's not censorship. We just think untold members of the trans community will die if she's allowed to speak, or you even promote this on your Facebook. But does this even sound sane to you? Advocates around Wisconsin have been asking the Women's Fund of the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation to rectify this harmful mistake by taking all possible steps to remove and replace Bethany Hamilton as Power of the Purse keynote speaker, and for Discover Oshkosh to stop promoting this event until those efforts are made. In the absence of those actions, discrimination, distrust, division, and harm have come to our community and will continue to worsen until the matter is resolved. And it's undersigned by the members of the Oshkosh transgender and LGBTQ plus community. One name in there stood out to me. It's the Oshkosh area LGBTQ plus community. You know who it was? Jessica Katzenmeier. Do you know why? She ran for the state assembly, state senate, maybe. She ran for both, okay? As a Democrat. She's from West Dallas. She is like nowhere near Oshkosh. What's she doing signing this? It's very, hear me out. Jessica Katzenmeier identifies as an Oshkosh resident. You see how this works? So, yeah, Jessica Katzenmeier is a transgender woman, which I should have explained because the joke is way funnier when I do. It's still funny. It is still an objectively funny. Now, am I causing harm? I don't want to cause harm. I don't want anybody to die as a result of this radio segment. Here's my suggestion, though. If the Oshkosh Women's Fund wants to do something, they will, in fact, cancel Bethany Hamilton and replace her with Riley Gaines. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, conservative thought, not just talk. I actually have more to say on this and what it says about discourse in America today.
Conservative thought, not just talk. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
You want a new way to play fantasy football? You got it. It's called Pick Six from the leader in fantasy sports, DraftKings. All you need to do to get started is to download the DraftKings Pick Six app, sign up using code WISN, pick between 2 and 6 NFL players, choose if they're going to have more or less of a stat. For example, will a player have more or less than 100 rushing yards? Track your lineup, compete against others for a chance at huge prizes. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and sign up with code WISN. That's code WISN, only on DraftKings Pick Six. The crown is yours. Approved local P6 states. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Valid only in states where DraftKings Pick Six operates. For up-to-date list of states, please visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
All year long, Klaus Roofing Systems by Buck Buckley offers free replacement roof repair and gutters. 100% satisfaction is the Klaus Roofing way. For a free estimate, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com and put a Klaus on your house.
The Fed is setting a digital dollar control trap. The new FedNow system might sound modern and convenient, but the truth is, it's all about surveillance and control. Don't be fooled. Secure your assets right now with something Washington cannot manipulate. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon, former advisor to Donald Trump. And in these times of uncertainty, I believe the best way to defend your savings is to use tangible assets, which is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Because gold has a 5,000-year track record as the ultimate guardian of wealth. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SECURE to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text SECURE to the number 989898. That's SECURE to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. There's no obligation or purchase required.
Message and data rates may apply.
Get ready for the big game with the free iHeartRadio app. Pre-game with perfectly tailored playlists like Big Game Party and more.
Jump around.
iHeartRadio has the perfect soundtrack for your pre-game party, whether it's just you or a block party for the entire neighborhood. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Big Game, and listen now. Make the big game great with iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
An important update to a very important topic we first made you aware of last segment. The urinal at the iHeartMedia headquarters is no longer overflowing. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we here at the Dan O'Donnell Show get results. We get things done. It feels like this is the 1812 overture. It feels like an appropriately big, triumphant song to play as we got the urinal unplugged. What did you do? Go into the thing with a plunger? What happened? It was fine? It just unplugged. It unplugged on its own? Maybe it was a slow drain. I had to walk all the way over to Sales to use the restroom. And like a ship collecting a barnacle on its hull, a bunch of salespeople stopped me to talk about advertising stuff. Gotta get back to the show. No, I'm kidding. We love our sales guy, Mario. He and I were chatting about southern border and security and stuff like that. All right. Need to reset a little bit. I do not want to cause anyone harm, least of all the members of the LGBTQ plus community, because this is a community that apparently can be harmed when you say stuff they don't like, such as gender is a biological, not social construct. It is, in fact, chromosomal, not the result of you saying, just like that, I'm a woman. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to identify as a non-harmful talk show host right now to reveal some truths about what this says. If, in fact, the LGBTQ plus community really, truly believes that Bethany Hamilton is leading to the physical harm and death of members of its community, this is not a mentally rational or reasonable thing to say or thing to believe. And it is yet further evidence, and I talk about this all the time. Gender dysphoria, the belief that one is born in the wrong body, is evidence of dysfunction. It is evidence of mental illness. It is not necessarily mental illness per se. It's a big article about this in, of all places, I think it was the New York Times. It's an opinion piece. They said they were trans. Now they're regretting their decision. It was all about how gender-affirming care is one of the worst possible things that the medical community has yet come up with. Number one being, of course, the decision to lock down all of society over COVID-19. But gender-affirming care is right up there. Because these are people, kids as young as 10 or 11 years old, who are essentially being forced to make irrevocable, or having decisions made on their behalf, irrevocable, in many cases, life decisions. And then when they decide, oh, well, I was just going through something, it's almost invariably the exact same script. They're bullied at school, they're feeling alone and isolated, and what they see is that people are, well, there's this welcoming community, and maybe I'm not a boy, I'm actually a girl. And it's remarkable how many more male to female transitions there have been. And I firmly believe a lot of this is kids who don't realize that they're gay, that they think, oh, well, I'm attracted to boys, I have these feelings. Oh, yes, okay, yeah, because of the dramatic increase in the representation of transgenderism in popular culture, many more people are saying, oh, okay, well, no, you're attracted to boys, you're gay, okay? Like this, you're gonna learn about this. You're gonna, as your body matures at a later time, at a time in which it's more appropriate for us to be talking about your sexual feelings and that sort of stuff, you'll sort of have this journey of self-discovery. Instead, parents, doctors, people who should know better in the child's life are saying, well, okay, you're having these feelings. Instead of talking them through and saying, okay, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's actually something a little bit more deep-seated. They're saying, all right, here's your path to happiness. You're going to transition. And guess what? Changes the surface part about you, changes how you look to everyone else, how you identify, how you check a demographic box, but it hasn't treated you, it hasn't treated your psyche, it hasn't treated your soul. And when we hear about harm to transgender people or transgenocide, it's amazing how the use of it's almost as though like harm and it doesn't have the impact that the left needs it to have. So everything is now a genocide. Have you noticed this? Like, what's next? We're going to have a trans extinction level event. It's going to be a trans meteor that killed the dinosaurs. What? Because a one-armed surfer is speaking? If you're that harmed by someone who has an opinion different from you, I would suggest that you are so mentally unstable that you can't exist in society, that you don't have the coping mechanisms or the ability to function or reason or think or behave at an adult level, at a level at which society has basic expectations for you. I'm a conservative, man. I hear stuff I don't agree with on a daily basis. Doesn't cause me any harm. I'm told me, being a heterosexual white man, have been responsible for all sorts of genocides throughout the years. Hundreds, thousands of years before I was born, I am responsible. Neither side of my family came to this country until well after slavery was all done, but I'm responsible for the brutal enslavement of millions of African Americans just because of who I am. That's causing me harm. What if I were to say, you saying this is causing me harm? What the transgenocide actually is the insanely high rates of suicide amongst transgender people. Is precisely because they are not being treated for the obvious mental issues that they have. We used to understand that gender dysphoria, gender dysmorphic disorder, it was called many, many years ago, was evidence of severe psychological issues. That might have been a symptom. It might have been there is a small percentage of people who are truly can you still call them hermaphrodites? Can you still androgynous? The scientific terms that we used to use. Okay, yes, there are, but a lot of it is socio-psychological. They see, okay, I can be happy if only I change this. Well, they're not getting to the deep-seated part of it. And when we allow people who aren't able to cope with things that adults need to be able to cope with, and they're allowed this heckler's veto by claiming that merely hearing Bethany Hamilton or Riley Gaines or anyone like that speak is going to cause them physical harm, when they're going to harm themselves if they hear Bethany Hamilton, and because of that, you can't hear Bethany Hamilton either. It's not a rational position. That's not even a sane position. So today's Monday, so it's the one day of the week that Rachel Maddow is on the air. What if I were to come on today and write an open letter? I would do an entire segment of my radio show saying to MSNBC, if I have to hear Rachel Maddow, I will kill myself. You will cause harm to the straight white community if you put Rachel Maddow on the air. That's not sane. That is not a rational thing. Why do we accept this sort of hijacking of discourse, this sort of extortion? What this is emotional extortion. Because clearly we would assume that the members of the LGBTQ plus community are not going to be paying $50 or whatever it is to hear Riley Gaines speak. But if someone else hears Bethany Hamilton speak, or Riley Gaines, or whoever it is, saying something that is perfectly logical, it's something that all of society basically agreed with. Women should be in women's sports, men should be in men's sports, until about 4 years ago. If someone else is allowed to hear her, I will kill myself. That's not the heckler's veto. That's an extortionist's veto. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back in just a second. Horrible, and I mean horrible polling for Joe Biden.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's President's Day and Randy Kay's birthday mattress sale is on now. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, Comfort Sleep, and more. Built Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free self-service store. Built Right makes it easy, and with their legitimate sale prices, and you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep. Built Right does the research for you, and their team will take the time to fit you. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, two-sided, and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Team up with the Brewers for an epic company event this season. With the Brewers Group Outing, you can trade weekday meetings for a fun-filled day at American Family Field, featuring options like tailgate spaces, all-inclusive areas, seating blocks, and much more. Plus, Brewers ticket representatives will make planning your event simple, as they'll be your personal concierge while booking your outing. Start planning your company outing today at brewers.com/groups.
Are you sick of living with outdated, worn-out countertops but are unsure of who to trust with the job? This is Eric from Granite Direct saying we're here to help. From humble beginnings more than 15 years ago, Granite Direct has built a reputation as the go-to place for natural stone and quartz countertops. From the moment you walk in the door, you'll start to experience the Granite Direct difference. Our knowledgeable, no-pressure sales team will guide you through the countless options and answer all your questions along the way. And you'll leave confident that you've made the right choice. Then peering out into our shop, you'll not only notice the state-of-the-art machinery, but expert craftsmen inspecting and putting on the finishing touches, making sure every job is just right. Then the day arrives. You look out your window to see a Granite Direct truck in your driveway. That's when one of our experienced install crews, treating your house like their own, expertly install your new tops, turning your vision into reality. Look, we're not super fancy, but we love what we do, and we're really good at it. If you're ready to make a change, we're ready to help. Where technology meets craftsmanship, we're Granite Direct.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who is experiencing shoulder, hip, or knee pain and a total joint replacement may be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Selling your home doesn't have to be filled with drama or having to pay hidden fees. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here to tell you, as an active investor, I firmly believe in working with the smartest local agents who sell homes in high volume. Prepare your home to create the most demand when it does go on the market to sell for the highest price. And don't fill your life with drama while you wait for your home to sell. When I want to know what's happening, there's only one agent I call. I'm talking about Justin Hoffman of RE/MAX Realty Pros. Now, Justin spends thousands of dollars every month to attract thousands of buyers, which helps sell a home on average every 28 hours for up to $25,000 over the asking price. In fact, he can give you an immediate cash offer without the large hidden fees, or help set a price and a deadline. And if that deadline passes, he will buy your home. You can give Justin a call right now at 414-604-1454. Or just Google Team Hoffman and check out over 500 five-star reviews.
So when you have a hot housing market, why would you pay 6%? I understand some of you might have challenging properties, houses in need of major repair, perhaps even a lot or location that just isn't all that great. Maybe you do need to pay 6%. This is Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. Our 3.99% commission plan is perfect for every house, ranging from pretty much normal to absolutely stunning. Visit redefinedrealty.com and save thousands on your next sale.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at ACCUNET.com.
The NFL playoffs are here, and there's no better way to stay up to date on the latest from our league than with the Around the NFL podcast. Join me, Dan Hanzus, and my buds, Mark Sessler and Greg Rosenthal, for news and fresh content all playoffs long. We've been doing this together for over 10 years, and the playoffs always offer up something we've never seen before. We'll preview and recap every game as we make our way through the playoffs and to Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58. Listen to the Around the NFL podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Heed the call.
I said, oh, you say I say revolution, and you say down.
A talk radio revolution. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
I say revolution, and you say down, down, down,
OAR in the bumper music rotation. That was a crazy game of poker. If you were in college in the early 2000s, you could not get away from OAR. They were bumping from every dorm room, and I mean every dorm room, every bar, I just got a little blast of nostalgia. OAR, check them out. Fantastic band. They come to Summerfest pretty much every year. Every 2 out of 3 years, producer Dave. Dave follows them around like they're the Grateful Dead. So, no, yeah. Dave Matthews Band, are you into Dispatch as well? Do you like Dispatch? You don't like Dispatch? Oh, they're fantastic. I almost like them better than OAR. Wonderful. Yeah, dead serious about that. What other jam bands do you like? You into Fish? Okay, good, because Fish sucks. Sorry, they do. You know what? I shouldn't say that. Fish, they're great musicians. I've just never connected with any of their songs. Matter of taste. Dave Matthews Band is far better musically. They've got better songs. Your wife despises Dave Matthews? Really? All right. Well, this summer I'm going to be your plus one. They're at Alpine, right? All right. Let's go. One of the 2 nights, I'll go with you. I know I have. I've said I'm going to go to Dave with producer Dave. Now, do I have to take a bunch of mushrooms? What do you people do? Do I have to be able to taste the music? I'm so high. Oh man, I can taste the music. No? I used to go to Dave all the time. I probably have not been to Dave Matthews in, it's probably 13 years. Do you know how I remember this? Because the last time I think we were there, my wife was super pregnant with my second child. Like she was waddling around, the big pregnant belly. That was great. The crowd was super happy. One stoned woman with dreadlocks, white girl with dreadlocks. I'll never forget this. She's like, oh man. That's it. She comes right up to Megan. I think like touched her belly and was like, I'm so happy you're not letting this get you down. Megan's like, okay, thank you. It's a very joyous occasion. All right, President Biden, but it would take away her ability to go see Dave Matthews, which was what this dreadlocked woman was very concerned about. Still remember that 13 years later. President Biden trailing Donald Trump in the latest NBC News poll, and he has dipped steadily across the past couple of months. I will remind you that, in fact, Trump did not lead in a single one of these polls in the 2020 election cycle. He now has a 47 to 42 lead with 11% undecided in the latest poll. This follows a 46-44 lead for Trump back in November. The real big takeaway, one of them is something that the media is not publicizing, and that is Biden pulls ahead when you factor in, when you ask voters, would you vote for Trump? Who would you vote for if Trump was convicted of a felony? And Biden takes a 2-point lead there. Even then, I will remind you, Trump can lose the popular vote by about 4% and still win the presidency if his votes are in the critical swing states. The big takeaway, and I mean the biggest takeaway of this, is how badly Biden is trailing Trump on the 2 biggest issues, the economy and illegal immigration. Much more so than the economy. Democrats are currently in an all-out blitz trying to convince you that the fact that you're paying way more for stuff now than you did the exact moment Biden took office isn't a big thing. And the jobs numbers are great. Well, all of those are part-time jobs from people who can't afford to buy stuff. Illegal immigration is the issue, and this is why you're seeing the massive shift from Democrats from, it's totally fine. The border is secure. The border is secure to, oh, yeah, the border is not secure. And it's a huge problem. It's because we're now in 2024. And they recognize that illegal immigration is the issue that has the potential to sway this election, that regardless of whether or not Trump is convicted, if enough people say, OK, conviction or not, this guy can shut down the border, because this is an issue that more than almost anything else just infuriates Americans. Like, wait a second. What do you mean we're importing 6 million people to come in here? What? Why? What possible reason could there be, except, of course, the world's largest get out the Democrat vote drive, which is absolutely what this is. Enough people get ticked off about that, and I promise you there is absolutely no way that Joe Biden can win re-election. Just look at 2016. One of the biggest issues, if not the biggest, in the rise of Trump was illegal immigration.
Winter in
Wisconsin offers two options, hibernate or activate. For those who choose the latter,
Warm up your goggles with
playing the nationwide Cold Hard Cash Contest 9 times each weekday on News Talk 1130 WISN. Listen for a keyword, enter it at WISN's website, and take your shot at the hourly prize of $1,000.
The Cold Hard Cash Contest is presented by the Covering the World in Christ celebration March 7th at Washington County Fair Park. Heisman Trophy winner Tim Tebow's keynote address focuses on passion, purpose, and God's will. Tickets, coveringtheworldinChrist.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, the best decision after a collision. And you hear me talking all the time about how great Mander is, but here's customer Amber, who writes, the quality of customer service at Mander in Muskego has far exceeded my expectations. After being involved in an accident, not my fault, and having experienced some significant difficulties communicating with the individual that hit me, Mander went above and beyond to ensure my needs were being met. I have never felt so confident and secure as a customer. The staff truly has their customers' best interests at heart and shows it through their actions. Thank you, Mander, for alleviating my stress through an undesirable chain of events. Thanks so much for sharing your experience, Amber, because that's yet another reason why I recommend Mander so highly. Now with 6 locations to serve you, Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
Hey, business owners, it's Joe Breyer with Lake Country Advisors. Are you thinking about selling your business but have questions about the overall value, how to keep things confidential, who would buy your business, or maybe you're just curious about the overall process? No need to worry. At Lake Country Advisors, we offer a free exit strategy consultation to answer all your questions about selling your business. We are local, experienced, and trusted. So visit us today at LakeCountryAdvisors.com. That's Lake Country Advisors, changing the way businesses change hands.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Most people know us as a trusted landscape contractor, but did you know that we've been crafting decorative concrete and masonry features for almost 30 years? All concrete is not the same. Do you know what to ask for when planning a landscape project that includes concrete? For example, there are many types of concrete mixes available, and if you don't request a premium mix, you'll likely get a bargain mix, and a driveway or patio made with a bargain mix is not a bargain at all. We use only premium concrete mixes from trusted producers, and our decorative concrete and masonry features are crafted by our own artisans, not subcontractors. There's so much to consider when preparing for your landscaping project. Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services has been serving southeastern Wisconsin since 1994. We are an established, trusted landscape contractor. Please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
The Fed is setting a digital dollar control trap. The new FedNow system might sound modern and convenient, but the truth is, it's all about surveillance and control. Don't be fooled. Secure your assets right now with something Washington cannot manipulate. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon, former advisor to Donald Trump. And in these times of uncertainty, I believe the best way to defend your savings is to use tangible assets, which is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group, because gold has a 5,000-year track record as the ultimate guardian of wealth. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust, so text PROTECT to the number 989898. Text PROTECT to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. There's no obligation or purchase required.
Message and data rates may apply.
Market volatility, global issues, inflation, still more than a few headwinds this year. That's probably why Americans feel uncertain about their financial futures. Boomers, not much room for error. Gen X might need more than a 401k. And for millennials, it's time to get real about saving and investing. Talk to Annex Wealth Management. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. You may need more than investments. That's why Annex delivers tax and estate planning. There's an Annex plan personalized for you. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
Get ready for our 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, presented by The Hartford, live at South by Southwest. March 11th, we'll honor the very best in podcasting from the past year, and you'll help decide who wins Podcast of the Year. Vote now at iHeartPodcastAwards.com. The Hartford Small Business Insurance is the presenting partner of the 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, live at South by Southwest. To learn more or start a quote, visit thehartford.com/smallbusiness. With insurance designed for your small business, the Bucks got your back.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
So, folks, I finally did it. I finally listened to a podcast that's advertised on the Dan O'Donnell Show and thoroughly enjoyed it. Only the first 2 episodes are out. Finding Matt Drudge is very good. It is very well done. It does suffer from what I find most podcasts suffer from, and that is that the focus isn't on the subject, Drudge, right? The focus is on the host of the podcast and his search for Matt Drudge. So it's a little self-indulgent, but for those of us who, and I basically came of age politically during 9/11, but I first sort of paid attention to stuff. I was 16 years old when the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal broke. That was my first sort of introduction into politics. Yeah, and Drudge did break that and became an absolute icon. There's archival footage from him. They're trying to get an interview with him. First 2 episodes are up on iHeartRadio. I'll tell you, I was doing yard work and chores and stuff all weekend. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Back at 3 o'clock this afternoon, filling in for Mark Belling. Talk to you then.